Right, 24 September 2020, and today I've got two special guests from the Zimbabwe People's Party, Mr. Jason Midzi and Mr. Steve Tambour. Gentlemen, how are you?
Very fine, Mr. Gambakwe. How are you?
Fantastic. And today I want us to discuss a very interesting but very difficult topic. And this is with regards to Harare West, the constituency from which Mr. Tambour comes from. So I would like Mr. Midzi to introduce Mr. Tambour, and then we can take it from there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gambakwe. Mr. Stephen Tambour is a member of the Zimbabwe People's Party. He joined the Zimbabwe People's Party on its formation, and he has been hardworking enough to still be a member. I remember he joined with close to 15 members at a go, and the other 14 hit the road. Not because they didn't want to continue working with the party, but because the party dismissed them. How do we do that? Zimbabwe People's Party believes in what we call meritocracy, ability to produce results. So out of 15 people, Mr. Tambour is the survivor. Is the man who managed to produce results. This is how we work in Zimbabwe People's Party. We only keep people who can produce results. Those who can't, we say no, let's invite other capable Zimbabweans, because Zimbabwe should go forward. Service delivery should be the priority than just people who hang jackets doing nothing. So Mr. Tambour is our shadow MP for Harare West constituents. By shadow MP, I mean to say that he is our candidate for any by-elections and for any general elections. So when he is in the constituents, elected or not elected, he is working with the people, answering their cause, assisting the MP who is elected there as per our policy. Because it's not about being elected, it's about getting things done in the constituents. So Mr. Tambour is our shadow MP for Harare West, and also he started as a general member, and he rose through to the rank of shadow MP until he became a provincial leader for Harare province in the Department of Communications and Publicity, up to today that he is the head of department of the Communications and Publicity Department. As a head of department in the party, in the ZPP, he is a deputy president equivalent of the other parties that you know. So he is a very hardworking man.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Tambour. And I do not want us to take longer. Today, I want us to keep this below 30 minutes. The question that I want to ask you is, you are saying that in your constituency, there is an MP, but you want a recall. What is the reason for that?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gambakwe. You know, in Harare West constituency, before I joined Zimbabwe People's Party, I even voted for the current MP, Joanna Mamombe. We last saw Joanna Mamombe on a Twitter in 2019, and on a Facebook page in March this year. So she's not visible. She's not there. She's not there for the people. The last time she was there on a Facebook, she was donating the donated goods, not the goods which she sold, but I think there were some well-wishers, some pastors and other well-wishers who donated those goodies to the vulnerable. So I don't think she's capable. She does not have that capacity to represent us in Harare West. So we are saying, no, we don't have an MP in Harare West. And since she declared on herself that she's not able, she has got some running thoughts. That's why you are seeing all these things, the court issues, this and that. And today she has been remanded to Harare prisons for 2 weeks, so that the government doctors will look at her and find out whether she is she's not well or whatever.
Okay, so do you think you'll be able to take over and do better than Joanna Mamombe? And what do you have planned if you were to be voted in? Let's say she's removed and you put yourself forward. What are your plans for Harare West?
Yeah, you know, Mr. Gambakwe, as an MP for a constituency, you know, remember, I think people have got an assumption that since MDC, they are not a government, they are not into government, but they are there. Because once you are voted into parliament, you are voted as an MP. You know, remember, there are some funds which are given to the MPs. Those are CDF. Constituency Development Fund. Since she came in, she was voted in. I think there is nothing like a project which she did. Even commissioning a street light or whatever, or a robot, there's nothing. And what we read about her is she's at the court, no abductions, this and that. She's demonstrating in Warren Park. You know, an MP, you should demonstrate in your constituency. Why did she go to Warren Park to demonstrate there when she is representing us here in Harare West constituency?
Okay, so let's go to your plans, right? If you want a record, and I think Mr. Midzi can assist us here. If an MP is not performing, what can a constituency do? We have a serious problem in Zimbabwe where people are voted, but you never see them after that. What is the process that you are going to take to get it removed?
The only process that we can get to do is to send a letter of complaint to the parliament and to the party concerned, her political party. At this hour, we don't know which political party she is from because there are a lot of squabbles and problems happening in the MDC. You don't know which MDC she belongs to. So we don't know where to send the letter to, but the letter is written. We also have been talking to several clubs and community groups in Harare West constituents, and they believe they've been neglected enough by Joanna Mamombe. Her circumstances are her personal issues, which cannot be deliberated on, which should also not affect service delivery or her presence in the constituents. As an upmarket constituents, Harare West deserves someone who is available to them. So the only way we can we have done at the moment is to write a letter of complaint as instructed by several residents who are seeing her disappearance from the constituents. So we'll submit that letter to the Parliament of Zimbabwe, and also we'll submit it it's difficult to know which party she belongs to because of the squabbles in the MDC. We'll also just we'll simply just send it to the Parliament.
Okay, so you are going to ask Parliament to remove her because of the reasons that you've given, that she's not performing. Is there another reason that you can give? Mr. Tambour, you mentioned the issue of her saying that she's no longer mentally fit. Is that something that you're going to raise?
Yeah, on that issue, Mr. Gambakwe, is we don't want to preempt the ruling by the courts. I think that one we can leave it to the courts. But as the situation on the ground is, we don't have a representative from our constituency, because the idea of having an MP is we give our MP our grievances, what we want, the developments, what we want in our constituency, so that she can take those grievances and issues to Parliament. That is the real issue of voting for an MP. So as it is, we don't have those representatives. You know, look at what is happening now. We don't have some councillors. Ward 16 and Ward 41, the two of them, they were recalled. And, we are expecting some service deliveries from the councillors, but there's no one there. So you see now, the problem is there's a constituency. We want some representatives, and those guys, they are not there. And our MP, our member of parliament, she's not there. She's at remand. So we are only electorates here. There's no one who can represent us, and even there's no one to give our grievances to.
Okay, so I want to go back to what you just said. You said Harare West is an urban constituency, and this is an important point that I want to make. Why do you think MPs in town are failing to perform and not getting called out? For example, you just mentioned that your councillors are not showing up, your MPs are not showing up. What have people done in the constituency to bring MPs and councillors to account?
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gamba. I think on that one, because this is now this is a developing story. I think people are still waiting for the outcome of the court ruling, because we don't know where we are going. So I think after the court ruling, I think we'll be having a position to know that this girl, our MP, our current MP, is she guilty or she's not guilty? So I think on that one, I think we are waiting for the ruling.
Okay. So the councillors in your constituency, Harare West, they were recalled. There is, I think it's Ngadzore, he was recalled. How was Ngadzore performing before he was recalled?
The problem with MDC councillors and MPs, I think he always hearing them, they're saying even if we put a donkey in a constitutional reward, people will vote for them, because there was no alternative opposition when people were voting them in. And if you look at them, they don't have that meritocracy type of leadership. They are being appointed, or they are. Look at Harare West. There was Jesima Majome, and Jesima Majome, she was voted out because of politics of partition. Their constitution is for someone to be a member of parliament, she should or he should have served 5 years before she's capable of to run for the constituency. But Joanna Mamombe, she came from Norway and she represented us. So at ZPP, we have read our constitution and our guidelines. We know what we want. That's why we don't want to have many lawyers in ZPP, because this is not a party to go to the courts. We are a party to serve the people. We are the servants of the people. We don't want to be seen, criticizing or going against our constitution and our guidelines. We are there to serve our electorate.
Okay, so I think let's go a bit deeper into that, because Harare West there are clever people in that constituency. It's not a rural constituency.
True.
So someone like Ngadzore, as a councillor, was he doing the role of a councillor? What is a role? Let me put those together. What is the role of a councillor and the role of an MP in Harare West? What do you expect as a shadow MP to see them doing?
All right.
I could come on that one.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
So Mr. Gambakwe, the role of a councillor, the roles of the councillor are very clear. The first role of the councillor or the MP is to communicate with the people. So if there is no communication, it means there is no one and nothing is being done. No communication, nothing done. So councillors and MPs are supposed to update their people periodically on issues going on around in the community. They are also supposed to go around the community to check problems that are happening. Like right now on record, most street lights in Harare West, they are not working. They long stopped working a long time ago. At the same time, you also find out that there is an increase in criminality. People going around in unmarked cars and grabbing bags from girls and women coming from bus stops on their journeys. There is also issues of refuse collection. You find that there is no one collecting any refuse, and also you look at the draining of sewer we call them septic tanks. It's also not happening. If it is happening, it is being done by private companies who are charging residents a lot of money. We also have issues like electricity. People are now, using much of solar than the normal electricity that they know. So the local businesses are also not being attended to. Local clubs and schools are also not being given attention to. So there is no communication from these guys. They just got in there. What we know is that they are busy doing party politics at a time when they are supposed to be delivering to the electorate. So the MP is supposed to...
You are saying she's focusing more on party politics than delivering.
Yes, if I can come... All right, fine.
Yeah, so I want you to explain that further, because that is important for what we're saying here, that she needs to be removed.
Okay, so what we hear most, what we know, we knew Joanna Mamombe. So yeah, Joanna Mamombe, because of party politics and all these demonstrations that they are doing. And by demonstrating during COVID, it means as a lawmaker, she was breaking the laws that she makes herself in parliament, which is awkward. It's pathetic. So when we talk about delivering Mr. Gambakwe by an MP, people need to know that an MP has two distinct roles. There is what we call a parliamentary roles, that is lawmaking and representing, taking the issues of the electorate to the parliament and ensuring that you talk to the ministers and other stakeholders around the country and even outside the country to ensure that things are being done in your constituents. And also we've got what we call constituent duties. This is what most of our people have not been able to rise up and hold MPs and to account. No MP has been doing their constituency duties of looking after all this welfare of the people. So to the people, we have normalized lack of service delivery because we have got MPs who are not held to account for neglecting constituencies or for neglecting their constituency duties, like talking to the people, giving feedback, suggesting and working with the people to get things done.
Okay, I want to quickly play something for you, and then I'll ask you my second question. Right, so that was Joanna Mamombe on the 4th of September. Before she went to court, she said that she's mentally unfit. So this question is for you, Mr. Tambour. Do you think Joanna Mamombe is really going through a mental issue, or is this part of furthering the claims of abduction?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gambakwe. I think on that issue, yeah, we can't say she's faking the illness, or she's afraid of going to jail. But you know, since this issue is at the courts, I think, as I said earlier on, I think we are a political party, which is same as MDC. So we don't want to preempt the court's rulings. But as it is, I think there are some issues there. You know, maybe these three ladies, they were used, you know, they were put on the forefront to do all these things, like faking the abductions, you know, doing this and that. But you know, as it is, now it's a new twist, because now she's at remand prison, you know, because you know, with these videos which are coming out, I think there are a lot to say. There are some evidence there, as you can see, because as she was, you know, she entered that supermarket, pulling that trolley. You know, that person, you cannot say she's not. She's mentally unfit or whatever.
Okay, so if she was doing a political stand like this, and this continues, because this has been going on for months. She was abducted, she was in hospital, she was under police protection. How has the constituency been suffering? I want us to make this, to almost describe this to the audience. What has been happening when she's not there? What services are missing?
Okay, all right, Mr. Gambak. On that issue, I think Joanna Mamombe, she got that record of lying. You know, when she registered to vote in 2018, she used a fake address. You know, and she went to court. I remember there's this in 2019. She was also arrested in Nyanga when she demonstrated before they went there. And, you know, her stories, you know, you can't believe them. So I think the state, they are not believing what she's saying. So they want to go deep. They want to go to the bottom of the issue. They want to know if these three ladies were abducted, or they were faking the abduction.
Okay, so I think we have described the situation, the problems that we've been having in the constituency, and I think we've described the fact that Harare West has really suffered. You have had two activists. In fact, you have had Ngadzwore, you have had Mamombe in the same constituency. Who are you, as ZPP, proposing to replace the councillors? Two of them were recalled, and now we have Joanna Mamombe that you are proposing that she must be replaced. Who are your replacements?
Okay, on Ward 16, we've got Tulan Katene, and in Ward 42, we've got Mr. Piwa.
Okay, and yourself, you will be the MP candidate. If she was to be recalled now, you will be the MP candidate.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I want Mr. Midzi to take us through the process. What is going to happen between now and December when the by-elections happen?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gambakwe. What is happening is that the ZEC chairwoman or chairperson, she called for elections on 5 December. So for now, candidates should just be collecting or gathering the ZEC requirements, and then parties should be creating their nomination lists and sending to ZEC, which we are doing as ZPP. And I think for an MP to be nominated, they are required to have quite a number of lists. One thing that they should have is that they need to be above the age of 21. And an MP should also bring an ID and a photocopy to the nomination court. And also they should have, in 2018, I remember they were paying $50 as a nomination fee. And also the person should be a Zimbabwean citizen. And in addition to that, the MP should not have a criminal record. So there are some requirements that we have sent out to all our candidates who are going to partake in this election. Anyway, so the nomination court is going to sit on 9 October. So between now and 9 October is the time for anyone willing to participate in the elections to collect all the requirements and to ensure that they are suitable. Then after 9 October, then it's time for people to be campaigning until the elections come on 5 December. So that's pretty much, as for the councillors, they don't have to, they have all the other requirements except money. And they don't have a nomination fee. And if I can say, councillors, they go and nominate at their local authorities, like Harare municipality or Blawe municipality. They will give people address of where nomination will be done. And MPs, they will nominate at their regional ZEC offices.
Okay. So, Mr. Tambour, I'm coming back to you. In your constituency, is there a constituency office? How does the MP contact, how do normal citizens contact the MP?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gabakwe. Yeah, we've got a Facebook page, Harare West .ZPP. I think all the details are there. Email address, my phone number, everything. We post everything which is happening in our constituency, pictures, photos of what is happening in our constituency, where the street lights are not working, where there's some potholes, you know, some robberies, you know, happening. So all those, you can find them on our Facebook page. And also we've got a WhatsApp group, Harare West constituency.
Okay, so that is for ZPP. But the current MP, does she have an office where people are coming to see her? How have people been contacting the MP?
Nothing.
On that note, Mr. Gambakwe, I'm thinking it's more of a structural question that I can answer. What we have in Zimbabwe is the lack of accountability. And lack of accountability is seen by secrecy. There is no constituency in Zimbabwe which has a constituent office. Most of them, even they don't have a public email or a public website or a public Facebook page or a public number that people can always contact when they have issues. So definitely, most MPs are departed from their electorates. Actually, these MPs, they sit in parliament and they can't even suggest to the government to say, can you rent us a small room where people can come with their issues so we can call that an office? Because an office, if ZPP is elected, that's one issue that we're going to work on. For transparency, communication and accountability to exist, there has to be effective communication with the electorate. When they vote, they need feedback and they need to know a lot of information about the constituents. It's not happening in Zimbabwe at the moment. I'm not sure in South Africa, but we have to rise up. We have to bring new things like new forums like the Zimbabwe People's Party, we are willing to bring this service to the electorate so that they can be attached to the office. They know where to find their MP.
Right, Mr. Minzi, I think if someone is a member of Harare West, they will be very pleased to hear what you are saying, because I think Zimbabweans are getting shortchanged because MPs and councillors, they only come during the voting period. And there's no way of measuring them, of bringing them to account. And I think ZPP has been doing a good job. I've seen that on Facebook. You've got almost for each constituency, you've got a Facebook page, you've got a shadow MP. So I think you're doing a good job there, and I wish you luck, Mr. Tambour, and the two councillors that will be working with you in Harare West. Now, Mr. Minzi, I want to go to the bigger picture. How many of the MPs are you going to be contesting? This is almost like a mini general election. It's quite a significant number of urban constituencies here that we're talking about. What is your strategy going into this by-elections in December?
Okay, our number one strategy is that we are very aware that Zimbabweans have been robbed of service delivery for a long time. They don't have their basics. They believe the MPs, I don't know, are gods who are, I don't know what they are doing. But anyway, our strategy is to go to the people, and we've been going to the people. That's why we have got these shadow MPs like Mr. Tambour. He has been a shadow MP for Harare West, communicating with the people, like many residents of Harare West and many people in the constituencies. We have put these shadow MPs. They are beginning to see the value of communicating with your leader, because we are always taking their concerns and passing them to the current MP or writing to the government to say these things need to be done. We are not selfish. We are not waiting to get in to be voted in order to effect change. But we are there already working with the people in the communities. We have our shadow councillors who feed to our shadow MPs. You can see there's a relationship that Mr. Tambour was explaining, that under him, he has got two councillors who are ready to take over from Kudzai, Kadzombe, and Ngadziore, who were recalled. And him is ready to assist Harare West, because he has been doing so, assisting Harare West in the absence of Joanna Mamombe, who has either been in jail or in a hospital. So our strategy is that we are going to contest in every constituency where people were recalled. We are also going to contest in every ward where people were recalled. But we also have got our issue of meritocracy. We don't just send people who are doing nothing, who hang their jackets. So we are in the process of scrutinizing and vetting our candidates to see what they have been doing in those communities that we assigned them to. If there are issues that they have not been underperforming, then we won't endorse their participation on issues of meritocracy, on issues of being able to produce results. We don't want candidates who just who win elections and they start to run around doing their own businesses, forgetting the core business of governance and service delivery. So I can confirm that we have candidates for every ward and for every constituency, but we are just reviewing their record in the party. If they've been working well, we also check with the communities if these people have been doing things, but we do that every time when we supervise them. So we are aware of who is doing what.
Okay, which brings us to the next person.
Okay.
Mr. Tambour, can you give us that background that Mr. Minzi is talking about? If I was to say Mr. Tambour needs to be MP, what is it that you can show me? Give us your background and your experience.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gambako. To be an MP or a leader, I think it needs an attitude. You should reach to the people, ask them their grievances. Talking to people, even on bus terminuses, even getting into a combi, going to town. No, you can hear what people are talking about, their grievances. They say that being an MP is not all about driving those 4x4. Because one thing I realized about our politics in Zimbabwe is our MPs, they think that being voted into parliament, you are going to drive a 4x4. Some of these people, they're after money and driving nice cars, and they are visible. They are only visible during the campaign and the voting period. After that, they will disappear. You will never see them. And come 2023, when they are starting to campaign, that's when you see them, handing out some goodies for people to vote them in again. So as an MP, I think charity begins at home. Start from the ward, from the constituency, and then from there you take the people's grievances, you take what people want, like boreholes, bus stop shelters, and all sorts of things. Just listen to people, because when you are voted in, you are a servant of those people who voted you in. So you should give them an ear, listen to them, and then answer them. Bring back some feedback from parliament. Those people, they want to see and to read about what is happening at the parliament. Should bring some leaflets, some books from parliament, so that people will know what you are there for.
Okay. I think we've basically covered most of the issues here that I wanted us to discuss from my end. And I want to give a chance for the two guests that I have, Mr. Tambour and Mr. Midzi, to say their last statements before we close. So, Mr. Tambour, is there anything you want to say before we close?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gambakwe. We are saying, politics is all about tolerance. We are all Zimbabweans. We have got different views when we are looking at politics. So let us coexist. There's MDC, there's ZPP, there's ZANPF. We are a family, but we have got different approach to politics, and we've got our way of seeing things. We've got our different way of in terms of development, in terms of running a constituency, running a ward. So what we want is to bring a new formation, a new setup in Zimbabwean politics.
Right, Mr. Midzi.
Yeah, I just want to inform all the people who are registered to vote and some who are not registered to vote to please go and do so. The winds of change are blowing. We cannot sit back and continue to see Zimbabwe collapsing and continue to blame politicians like Mr. Tambour and Mr. Midzi, Joanna Mamombe, Chamisa, Mnangagwa, and all that stuff. Let's do our part as citizens. Let's register to vote in numbers. Let's go and vote candidates who are visible, candidates who are willing to come to us, who are willing to talk to us. Let me also say on the issue of meritocracy. In ZPP, we believe the best person for the job should go forward. And that has made successful countries to be who they are. So let's please, as Zimbabweans, let's not vote just donkeys because they come from ZANPF or from Zimbabwe People's Party or from MDC. Let's vote the best person. And the best person is that one who comes to us, is that one who is talking to us every day, who has a clear policy on how to change the community. Like as Zimbabwe People's Party, we have an exciting package for Zimbabweans. We just asked for the Zimbabweans to give us those constituencies and wards in December, and you'll see a wonderful and marvelous job. We don't recall candidates or our MPs because we are fighting in the party. No, we recall them because they have not done the correct job. Those who have joined the ZPP before, they know a lot of people were recalled or were dismissed by Zimbabwe People's Party for failing to serve the communities as unelected officials. What about when they are elected? We'll be very serious, because we want Zimbabwe to be a successful country like all other countries in the world: America, UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa next door, Botswana next door. It can happen, Zimbabweans. It needs politicians who have the right attitude, not politicians who simply want votes and power, who fight every day within their parties or with other people and all that stuff. People don't eat words. People eat deliverables. What we have been seeing in Zimbabwe is descriptives. You can describe things, but what's there tangible that people can hold? That's what ZPP is bringing. Deliverables, not descriptives. So please, let's come together as a family, like what Mr. Tambour has said. We are all Zimbabweans. Let's not divide one another to say, oh, you are ZPP, you are ZPF, you are MDC. These people are same people coming from the same house, from the same constituents. Let's not divide them. Let's unite them. So that's pretty much, let's allow people to have a free choice of who should lead them, not to impose and to force and to beat people and all that stuff. Let that be a thing of the past, because violence, it's an issue of animals like baboons in the mountains. It's not in today's world where we are living, and we are in the 20th century. Let's change our attitude. Let's change our story as Zimbabweans. Tasekwa zvakwana nedzimwe nyika nevamwe vanhu kunzi tinotambura. We are educated fools who can't change their country. This is the time to use your vote to change your country, to say no to violence, to say no to MPs and councillors who cannot deliver, to say we now need change. Let's approach each and every elected official in their own right. What are you doing in our ward? What are you doing in our constituents? Don't give us reasons. No more reasons anymore. Leave or stay if you are producing results. No reason is qualified enough to rob people of their water, electricity, of their safety in the community, and of all their services that they want.
Right. Mr. Midzi, I'm very grateful, and Mr. Tambour, for you joining me today. I just want to bring to your attention a number of comments, and I think, Mr. Midzi, I want you to quickly answer these two big picture questions or comments that people have had here. The first one is to do with the popularity of the MDC. People are saying MDC is very popular. How are you going to win a ZPP? That is one, so please park that one. The second one, which has been asked quite a number of times, is your number is on the screen there. They're saying your number is not local. Are you on the ground, or you're just talking from overseas? So those two questions, please.
Okay, I can proudly say I'm overseas. And kugara nakakona dzevamwe. When I'm talking like this, I was a Zimbabwean. I was in Zimbabwe. I ran away from the poverty that you are suffering from today. So I know how important it is to wipe out that poverty. And I'm committed to do that. So please accept me as I am. Know that I'm coming to clean the poverty in the country, not to look for a job. Because I have a job, I'm okay. But I feel for you. I want your lives to be good. I still have family in Zimbabwe, and the extended family that I support every month. But with a good government that can support those families, then things are going to be good for me in the diaspora and you at home. So that's what we are looking for. Coming to the issue of popularity of the MDC, people don't eat popularity. We had people like Mugabe who were popular. We had people like Mr. Mnangagwa who is popular. Even ZPF was popular. But do we eat that as Zimbabweans? It's time we think. It's not about being popular. It's about being able to produce results. It's also about being humble enough to come to the people to say, I'm sorry, like my sister Joanna Mamombe. She could come and say, guys, I'm sorry. Or I'm not sorry. This is being alleged to me. So it's all about us being honest to ourselves. Do we want popularity or do we want services? What we simply need as voters are services. Nothing to do with popularity. You can go with your popularity, but all we need are services and food on our tables. So please, Zimbabweans, don't be cheated by popular people. Don't be lied to again and again. We are part of this because we make wrong choices in the ballot box. The problems in Zimbabwe are too big for one popular person to fix them. They need a collective effort for all of Zimbabwe, us Zimbabweans coming together, looking at strong systems, strong ideas that are tried and tested, not just a popular figure running around. If we want popularity, we can go to music. If you want popular people, we can always enjoy our music and go to music shows and see popular people there. But as far as the service delivery is concerned and governance is concerned, plus public policy, we really need people who can do the job, people who can produce the results. And me being here in the diaspora, I'm testing how nice service delivery is, how nice holding an MP or a councillor to account is, before we even talk about government. Thank you very much.
Right, Mr. Midzi, I think I can listen to you almost the whole day, because what you're talking about to me is what real politics is about. And I'm very grateful that you have been coming. I think now we are almost on our 6th month. You've been coming every week to talk about the real issues. And I hope that other political parties will take this opportunity. As I said last week, we want to go onto a 24-hour format by the 2023 elections. We want people to speak, because the two political parties, MDC and ZANU-PF, have been getting a platform to speak. And people like yourself that are very, very intelligent, Mr. Tambour, who's been working hard in Harare West, they've not had a platform to speak. And I'm very hopeful that we'll have this platform for many different political parties to talk and not to take people for granted, which I think is happening in our electorate. A few vocal people with platforms, they speak up, and the ordinary citizens are not getting an opportunity to voice their concerns. Mr. Tambour and Mr. Midzi, if there's nothing else, I would like to end this discussion. We've been discussing for 47 minutes now, and I'm very sorry for taking longer than I had said we're going to take. So is it fine for me to close this, Mr. Midzi? Is there anything else you want to close with?
Thank you very much. I simply want to say, please, Zimbabwe, we really feel for all of you. Let's come together now. It's time for unity. It's not time to point fingers, because the way the country is rotten to the core, it now needs us to really come together and identify the real pillars of our economy that can uplift our country. No amount of donation from America, Britain, South Africa, China, or anywhere will change the country. But our hard work as Zimbabweans, our willingness to come together and find solutions to each and every problem we have, homegrown solutions, will take us further. Also, having leaders who come to us, who communicate effectively, is the key to success.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Midzi. And we'll be back this weekend with more ZPP candidates as we continue to discuss the offerings that we have, the people that are putting forward for the 5 December by-elections. I'm sure that it's 5 December, if I'm not mistaken, and you've also given us the process, like the nomination, the campaigning period. So thank you very much for that information. And to everyone who's watching, good night.
Thank you very much.